Honda was preparing to completely reinvent itself with a new generation of electric cars. The Honda Zero series promised futuristic design, an intelligent vehicle operating system and a completely different approach to EV engineering. But in 2026, the story changed dramatically. 2. Introduction. The Honda Zero series was supposed to represent a new beginning for Honda's electric vehicle strategy. The name itself was significant. Zero. Honda wanted to go back to the starting point and rethink what an EV should be rather than simply converting an existing gasoline-powered vehicle into an electric one. The original Zero series program centered on two major models. The Honda Zero SUV was designed as a midsize electric SUV. The Honda Zero Saloon was positioned as the flagship, with an extremely low and futuristic body. Honda's development philosophy was summarized in 3 words: thin, light, wise. But before these vehicles could reach the North American market, Honda changed direction. In March 2026, the company officially canceled development and market launch of the Zero SUV and Zero Saloon in North America. That makes the 2026 Honda Zero series an especially interesting chapter in Honda's automotive history. 3. Exterior design. The Honda Zero series was never supposed to look like a conventional EV. The Zero Saloon had an extremely low roofline and futuristic wedge-shaped profile. Its proportions were closer to a dramatic concept car than a traditional family sedan. Honda wanted the Saloon to stand apart immediately from other electric vehicles. The unusual proportions also demonstrated the advantage of designing an EV around a dedicated architecture. The Zero SUV followed the same philosophy but translated it into a more practical body style. Honda described it as a midsize SUV with a low roofline, spacious interior and open field of vision. The SUV was influenced by Honda's earlier space hub concept. Instead of creating a tall, bulky crossover, Honda attempted to keep the vehicle visually thin while maintaining useful ground clearance and interior space. That was the first part of the Zero series philosophy. Thin. 4. Interior. The interior concept was arguably even more ambitious than the exterior. Honda wanted the Zero series to feel less like a traditional car cabin and more like a personalized space. The low exterior dimensions of the Saloon were designed to hide a surprisingly spacious interior. The SUV was designed around flexibility, visibility and an open feeling. Honda also wanted to reduce unnecessary mechanical hardware and use the freedom of an EV platform to rethink packaging. The goal was simple: more usable space without making the vehicle unnecessarily large. That approach is important because traditional internal combustion vehicles often have packaging limitations created by engines, transmissions and exhaust systems. A dedicated EV architecture gives engineers more freedom. And Honda wanted to use that freedom. 5. Technology. This was where the word wise became especially important. The Honda Zero series was planned to use Honda's own vehicle operating system called ASIMO OS. The name came from Honda's famous robotics program. ASIMO OS was designed to make the vehicle increasingly personalized over time. Honda described the idea as an ultra-personalized mobility experience. In simple terms, the car was supposed to learn from the driver's behavior and preferences and continuously improve the experience through software. Honda also envisioned software updates that could introduce improvements after the vehicle had been purchased. That means the car wasn't supposed to remain exactly the same on the day you bought it. It could evolve. Honda also planned advanced automated driving technology, building on its existing Level 3 automated driving research and technology. However, it's important not to confuse Honda's technology demonstrations with a confirmed production specification. Because the Zero SUV and Zero Saloon were cancelled before North American production, there is no final production specification for their infotainment system, display sizes, audio system or charging hardware. 6. Engine and performance. The Honda Zero series was designed as a battery electric vehicle platform. That means there was no gasoline engine, conventional transmission or exhaust system. However, Honda did not release a final production horsepower, torque, battery capacity, acceleration or top speed specification for the cancelled North American models. There were many early expectations surrounding these vehicles, but those numbers should not be presented as official production specifications. And that's important. When a vehicle is cancelled before production, prototype specifications can change significantly during development. Honda's real focus with the Zero Series wasn't simply maximum horsepower. It was efficiency, weight reduction and intelligent packaging. The company's thin, light and wise philosophy was intended to create an EV that felt more efficient and natural rather than simply adding a huge battery and massive amounts of technology. 7. Driving experience. Honda also wanted the Zero Series to maintain the driving character associated with the brand. The Zero SUV prototype was designed with technology for high-precision vehicle attitude estimation and stabilization. Honda said this system drew on knowledge from its robotics development. 3-axis gyroscope sensors were intended to help the vehicle understand body movement and improve control over different road surfaces. The idea was fascinating. Instead of simply making the car powerful, Honda was attempting to make it predictable and responsive. The Zero Series also explored advanced-by-wire technologies. In Honda's development plans, steer-by-wire technology could integrate steering, suspension and braking systems electronically. That could allow software to coordinate multiple vehicle systems simultaneously. But again, these were development technologies associated with the prototypes and planned vehicles. They should not be treated as specifications of a production 2026 Honda Zero. 8. Safety. Safety was expected to be a major part of the Zero Series strategy. Honda planned advanced sensing and automated driving technologies designed to understand both the vehicle's surroundings and the conditions inside the vehicle. Honda's research showed an emphasis on real-time recognition of objects and changing road conditions. The company's vision went beyond conventional lane keeping and automatic braking. It was working toward more sophisticated automated driving, including Level 3 capability in its broader development strategy. Level 3 is important because, under defined conditions, the system can take over the driving task while the human driver is not required to continuously monitor the road. But this technology is highly dependent on regulations, road conditions and system limitations. And because the Zero SUV and Zero Saloon were cancelled, there is no final production safety package to evaluate. 9. Reliability and ownership. This is where the Honda Zero Series has a major problem. There is no long-term ownership history. There are no production reliability statistics. There are no confirmed maintenance schedules. There is no final production warranty package for the cancelled North American models. And there is no resale history. So it would be impossible to honestly tell buyers how reliable a 2026 Honda Zero would have been. What we can say is that Honda's approach was highly software-focused. That creates potential advantages, such as continuous updates and personalized functions. But it also creates new challenges. Modern EV ownership increasingly depends on software, electronics, sensors and battery systems. Honda's decision to cancel the North American Zero SUV and Zero Saloon means consumers won't get the opportunity to discover how this particular approach would have performed in real-world ownership. 10. Competitor comparison. If the Honda Zero Series had reached the North American market as originally planned, its competitors would have included a wide range of modern electric vehicles. The Zero SUV would have entered a highly competitive electric SUV segment. The Zero Saloon would have been positioned against premium electric sedans and other technology-focused EVs. But Honda's biggest potential advantage was its design philosophy. Many manufacturers compete by increasing battery size, horsepower, acceleration, screen size. Honda was trying to approach the problem differently. Thin, light, wise. That could have given the Zero Series a distinctive identity. Unfortunately, we'll never know how successful that philosophy would have been in a full production vehicle. 11. Pros and cons. Pros. Completely new EV architecture. Futuristic exterior design. Dedicated electric platform. Thin, light and wise development philosophy. ASIMO OS concept. Strong focus on software. Advanced automated driving research. Innovative interior packaging. Robotics-inspired vehicle control technology. Distinctive Zero Saloon design. Practical Zero SUV concept. Cons. North American production was cancelled. No final production specifications. No confirmed horsepower or torque. No confirmed battery capacity. No official production range. No production reliability history. No production warranty information. Technology shown in prototypes may not reach future models in the same form. 12. Buying advice. There is one very important piece of buying advice here. You cannot buy the 2026 Honda Zero Series as originally planned. Honda cancelled the North American development and launch of the Zero SUV and Zero Saloon in March 2026. So if you're looking for a Honda EV today, the Zero Series isn't the vehicle to shop for. Instead, Honda's current EV strategy has shifted, while the company continues developing other electrification plans. But for enthusiasts and technology fans, the Zero Series is still worth watching. Not as a car you can purchase, but as a look at the direction Honda was attempting to take. 13. Final verdict. The Honda Zero Series could have been one of Honda's biggest transformations in decades. It wasn't simply another electric SUV. It wasn't simply another electric sedan. Honda wanted to start from zero. A new platform, a new design philosophy, a new operating system, and a new relationship between driver and vehicle. The Zero Saloon showed how far Honda was willing to push design. The Zero SUV showed how that philosophy could become practical. And ASIMO OS demonstrated Honda's ambition to make the vehicle smarter and more personalized over time. But history took a different direction. On March 12, 2026, Honda officially cancelled the North American development and market launch of both models. So the Honda Zero Series is now something unusual. A vision of a future that never arrived in its original form. And perhaps that's what makes it worth remembering. Because the Zero Series showed that Honda was willing to question what an automobile could be. Thin, light, wise. The question now is not whether the original Honda Zero will arrive. It won't, at least not in the North American form Honda had planned. The real question is, how much of the Zero Series vision will survive in Honda's next generation of vehicles? That is the part of this story that is still waiting to be written.